What if one of the greatest influencers of ancient civilization, the inventors of the alphabet, master sailors and secretive traders, had their legacy almost completely forgotten by time? Welcome to Old Topic. Today we dive deep into the mysterious world of the Phoenicians, the people who shaped the ancient world behind the scenes, yet left behind almost no records of their own. Who were they really? And just how much did they influence the world we live in today? Let's begin this journey into a hidden empire, a civilization without borders but with influence stretching from the Middle East to the Atlantic Ocean. The Phoenicians were not an empire in the traditional sense. They had no massive army, no grand monuments like the Egyptians, and no single capital. Instead, they were a network of city-states, such as Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos, all located in what is today Lebanon and parts of Syria and northern Israel. Their power wasn't in conquest, it was in trade. Even their name, Phoenician, isn't what they called themselves. It actually comes from the Greek word phoenix, meaning purple. That's because the Phoenicians were known for their prized purple dye, made from the murex sea snail. It took thousands of snails to dye a single piece of cloth, making it incredibly valuable, and a symbol of royalty. But what did the Phoenicians call themselves? They referred to themselves as Canaanites, tying them to the ancient land of Canaan, which appears in biblical texts. This raises more questions. Were the Phoenicians simply coastal Canaanites, or a distinct offshoot? And how do their beliefs and culture link to the ancient Near East? We also know they had a complex pantheon of gods, Baal, Astarte, Melkart, and others. Many of these deities have parallels in other cultures, suggesting that the Phoenicians didn't just carry goods in their ships, they carried religion, mythology, and ideas. The god Melkart of Tyre, for example, is believed to have influenced the Greek image of Heracles or Hercules. Their most powerful city, Tyre, was a marvel. Built partly on an island, it resisted siege after siege, most famously by Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. It took Alexander 7 months to conquer Tyre, and only after building a causeway from the mainland to reach it. That causeway still exists today, now silted into a peninsula, a silent monument to Phoenician defiance. But perhaps the most enigmatic part of their story is Carthage. Founded by Phoenician settlers from Tyre around 800 BCE, Carthage would grow into a mighty city in North Africa. It carried Phoenician culture across the sea, and eventually became the dominant power in the Western Mediterranean. But Carthage would also become Rome's greatest enemy. The Punic Wars, fought between Carthage and Rome, were legendary. Hannibal's crossing of the Alps with elephants still echoes in military history. But when Rome finally defeated Carthage, it destroyed the city utterly, and with it, much of the remaining traces of Phoenician heritage. So, what was the true influence of the Phoenicians? They were the invisible hand in the rise of the ancient world. They didn't build great empires, but they connected them. They didn't leave behind massive monuments, but their ideas, trade, language, exploration, became the foundation of future civilizations. Without the Phoenicians, there may have been no alphabet, no Greek myths shaped by Eastern ideas, no Carthage, no global trade networks as we know them, and yet we still don't fully understand them. Their language is mostly lost, their records destroyed, their temples buried. Even their DNA is hard to trace, as their cities were conquered, rebuilt, and layered with centuries of history. The Phoenicians were like the tide, constantly moving, touching every shore but never staying long enough to leave deep footprints. Perhaps that's why they remain one of history's greatest mysteries. A civilization that shaped the ancient world, and yet remains in the shadows. So, the next time you write a word, remember that it may trace its roots back to a Phoenician scribe, somewhere on a ship, long ago. Thank you for watching Old Topic. Don't forget to explore more mysteries of the ancient world with us. Until next time.